Hello, sports fans. Welcome to VIP Sportsnet with Mike Dugan and Jim Sproul here. Today we're talking about the AFC South. We'll be working from the bottom up. So, Michael, who do you have as your last place team in the AFC South?
I have the Indianapolis Colts.
Whoa! All right, from projected first in the division to last. Wow, okay, I'm ready to hear all this. Something tells me it's going to have a little bit to do with the loss of a certain quarterback.
Yes, that would have to be about 98% of my choice. Everyone, unless you came from underneath the rock, Andrew Luck left.
No, I haven't heard.
Oh, really? Just let you know he's no longer with the Colts.
Okay, didn't know that.
So now the rebuilding of a quarterback.
Jacoby Brissett.
Yes. Last year, guess how many yards? 2.
Rushing?
No, throwing.
No way.
2 yards throwing.
He must not have been in games. That's right, because Luck was the comeback player of the year, so not many opportunities there.
Total for his career, 13 touchdowns, 7 interceptions in 3 years.
Protects the ball, 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio isn't bad.
Yeah, but they still got T.Y. Hilton coming off 76 receiving yards. Catches, 1,200 yards, 6 touchdowns. But I know their O-line's good, but you need a strong quarterback. You need a veteran quarterback behind that line.
He is a veteran.
He is a veteran. Just more on the sideline part,
Yeah, I mean, how much are they really going to ask him to throw, With that offensive line, I would just have him turn around and hand the ball off 30 times a game. Well, everything play action, but we'll see.
But eventually the coach is going to say, hey, they'll run the ball 35 times a day. So
eventually he's going to have to win them some games.
Yes.
I get that.
So who do you have?
Well, last, this is going to be a shock. I've got Houston Texans. And I just, after watching them in preseason and just especially when I watched the Cowboys' second string defensive line just totally destroy their first team offensive line. I was like, man, this team will be lucky to win a game. But they've invested in it. They spent a first-round pick on Titus Howard out of Alabama State. They just traded for a former first-round pick, Laramie Tunsil, offensive tackle. And they brought in former first-round pick, Matt Khalil, who's coming off a big injury. But those are guys that are just brought in. They've, offensive line's got to play as a unit. They move like a watch. And, they lost Jadeveon Clowney. They've lost, Tyrann Mathieu and a bunch of those guys. Lost their starting running back, even though they brought in Duke Johnson, I just see just too many new pieces, and I just don't know if there's going to be enough cohesion. So I have those guys as my last place team, so... Who do you got the second to last, Michael?
I have the Texans too.
Okay.
I believe that J.J. Watt will still have a good year.
Yeah.
Hopkins will have a good year. But you're right. They lost a lot in their defense. They lost their starting running back. And I really do not see much coherency on that team. Because I watched the same game you did, and they were horrible. They got shut out.
Yeah, they pulled their quarterback after one series because he was under duress as soon as the first play. The first play he was sacked. The second play they lost Lamar Miller. And then the third play he was sacked. He was just harassing. They're like, okay, we got to
do over in this game. This game's lost. Let's move on.
They surely didn't want to get him hurt. And it's funny you bring up Hopkins. He's one of the 3 to 5 best receivers in the game. And you got to say, well, can they protect the quarterback long enough to get him the ball?
Right.
And I'm sure that's where you were going with putting him so low.
Yeah, he had 11 touchdowns, but J.J. Watt had a really good year, 16 sacks, but he's kind of sometimes injury prone too. But that's what I see. Who do you have?
I have the Titans. This is my third place team. 3 consecutive 9-7 seasons. They have the defense is tough, but the quarterback play is iffy. Mariota just hasn't been what they thought he was going to be, being the first, first 2 picks in the draft. And, they brought in former first rounder Ryan Tannehill from the Dolphins. So, obviously, they're not thinking too much of, their quarterback's future. They brought in Cameron Wake, but they lost, Brian Arapko Poe from Texas, just a great pass rusher. But my thing, what gives them hope is, their offensive line's nasty, even though their tackle's going to be suspended for drugs for a couple of games. But, Henry averaged like 4.9 yards a carry.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that can always kind of keep you in games if you can run the ball and keep the other team off the field. But, they redid their offensive line. They brought in Roger Saffold, who was with the Rams, Super Bowl offensive guard. I just see them as just a middle-of-the-road or under team. I don't see anything dynamic about them. They just...
I'm not seeing them. I have them a little bit higher. But the South Division this year, it's kind of a crapshoot.
It's wide open.
Yeah. Everyone's like, oh, it could be the Colts and the Tech. Well, not anymore after Luck leaving, so it's all up to there. So, guys, we are going to take a break, and we come back. We're going to finish our last two for the AFC South. Please stay tuned. Welcome back, guys. We are talking today about the AFC South. We got two teams left. Man, Jim, who do you have coming up?
In my second spot,
yes,
got the Colts.
You got the Colts. Now, did you make this before or after Andrew Luck left? Okay.
Just looking at the Titans and Texans, there's question marks abound there. But for me to pick these boys this high with the quarterback Jacoby Brissett is just, it's so funny. The thing that was their biggest Achilles, their offensive line, which got their quarterback killed and retired, is now their greatest strength. Their offensive line may be the best in the league. These boys they just inflict their will on people. And, they got a solid running back. Marlon Mack is solid. Ty Hilton is still there. Secondary receivers could be a problem there, but when I look over there and just see how physical they are, and I look in their division, I think they can pretty much run the ball on anybody there, except for my first place team. But, the steal they had last year in Darius Leonard, rookie of the year on defense.
Mm-hmm.
That guy's an incredible linebacker. He Pro Bowler. Fourth round pick, and he just tackling machine, man. And I just think they're just too physical for the Titans and the Texans. What do you got, number two?
I have Tennessee, coming off 9-7.
Three straight seasons. Their quarterback still, you really don't know how his season's going to be. Up in the air, threw for over 2,500 yards, 11 touchdowns. No. That means they relied on the running game very strongly. Grant, we did talk earlier, they lost their left tackle for 4 games versus suspension. The running back, he ran the ball 215 times, almost over 1,000 yards, 12 touchdowns. So they love running the ball. Yeah, 4.9 yards a carry. It's amazing. Plus, he had that 99-yard touchdown.
Yeah, that kind of helps you.
Inflated his stats a little bit, yeah.
So that's what I'm seeing them. Do I see them in the playoffs? No. But are they going in the right direction? Yes, I do. My first pick, my prediction is Jacksonville.
Mine too.
Jacksonville coming off a 5-11 year, but they got Nick Foles. Nick Foles is a can-do attitude. He pretty much won the Super Bowl for the Eagles. Coming over as a free agent, granted, he threw for 7 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, over 1,400 yards, but he didn't play that much. But he is a good quarterback. And their running game, their top running back ran for 439 yards, 5 touchdowns. Not much.
Not much.
That's who I'm saying for Jacksonville. Jacksonville starts off going to Kansas City, first game. So that will be the true test of how good this team is going against Kansas City, because we all talked about in the previous show about how good Kansas City is this year.
Yep.
What about you? I know you picked Jacksonville.
I got Jacksonville, and it all boils down to one thing. Their defense is nasty. Calais Campbell can just get after people. I think they're not going to ask Foles throw a lot. When they got Leonard Fournette, I mean, they're going to try to pound him. If they do have to pass, I mean, D.D. Westbrook is, take a top off any defense. But, and they got Jeff Swaim at tight end. So the offense is solid as far as their playmakers. But, it just goes back to the defense. They were first in the league last year. They held opponents to 19.8 yards. I mean, points. Less than 20 points a game in this NFL where everybody's just throwing the ball all over the place. And these boys, they're just rugged. And then they bring in, the great edge rusher from Kentucky, Josh Allen. I mean, that's just going to make them even more formidable.
Right.
I mean, you just keep stacking and you always got Jalen Ramsey, who's, premier cornerback in the league, but he's always squabbling about a contract or something. But if they keep that locker room in check, I think they're going to win this. And this is a rugged division. Make no mistake about it. There's 3 good offensive lines in this. These people are going to try to play, smash mouth football.
So what are you seeing? How many wins do you see them having this year, if you had to predict? Like in the whole division, if you had to take that.
10-6.
10-6. Okay, so who do you have? How many do you have?
I didn't even look at that. I mostly was looking at personnel. And I just like what I see on the text. I don't, like I said, I don't think there's going to be a lot of 35-31 games with them. I think it's going to be a lot of, 21-17, wins with them and they're going to be a rugged team. I mean, that no one wants to go against that defense.
Right.
I mean, they are just stout. And
I mean, I'm predicting 10-6 too. But they really have a hard schedule. I mean, going to Kansas City.
When are they playing them?
First game.
Well, that's their advantage, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. So see how they do, guys. That is our AFC South prediction. Let us know what you think. If we have this right, wrong, send us your feedback on our YouTube channel, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I appreciate you guys coming in. You guys have a great day.